Good evening, Los Santos. Welcome to Los Santos Leaks. I'm Baxter Ivy, and you're about to be filled in. Tonight, we will be revealing all we know, summarizing the events leading us up to now, the information from the USBs that were submitted and found by you, the city, and the plan of action to finally take our city back from Humane Labs. March to October 7th, 2021. Down at the labs, a private corporation ordered a special research project. A no questions asked, need to know only project worth a ton of money. A woman named Arabella is named lead researcher on the project, Arceus, which is explained in her personal logs as a project to test neurological science. Cages were brought into the lab. There was word of possible human trials. However, it appears they began testing with monkeys first. With the money Arabella started to make with the project, she went looking for a house and went to DA to speak with an agent, which is where she met Yurt Monsoon. October 12th to the 17th. A man from the private corporation came down to check progress on the research project they funded at the labs. The man said that the animal testing was a waste of time and resources, and was pushing to skip to human trials. Prisoners were soon spotted marching into the labs to be used for the first human experimenting, but the test quickly went wrong and the labs had to be evacuated. A Black Ops looking team showed up at this point with a red letter on their arm and forced the laboratory workers to sign a non-disclosure agreement. October 18th to December 15th. The zombie outbreak around Halloween last year has been confirmed to be connected to labs testing. These new Black Ops guys are acting nervous but insist on people continuing their work at the labs. Arabella's team is slowing down, and Arabella is still house shopping and meeting with Yurt while working as a project lead. And the Black Ops private corporation is finally named Artemis Corporation. February 15th to April 28th, 2022. A breakthrough within the project has been made. They are now able to tap a nerve without penetrating the surface. Arabella is not keeping up with the project, however, and is often daydreaming about Yurt, according to emails and personal logs at this time. It was also at this time that someone who we now believe to be Yurt was seen being brought into the labs, kicking and screaming with a bag over their head. This is the first confirmed kidnapping we know of, due to the USBs, and Arabella soon goes missing from her team and the research project. And this is also when the second zombie outbreak at the college campus in town is also linked to the labs. April 29th to July 1st. Arabella's last log describes her telling someone about her buying an alien costume, confirming XOXO as we know them to be Arabella, the original lead on the research project. Dr. Nixon is introduced as the new lead of the project. He mentions the hunt for Arabella and how the labs are going to blame her for the zombie outbreak at the college campus. Artemis Corporations got word about someone camping by a lake and kidnapped Officer Novoa there wearing his uniform and brought him in with a bag over his head. Pictures on Twitter are posted by XOXO of Yurt in a cage. At this time, XOXO, or as we know them now to be Arabella, attempted to get the public and Los Santos government's attention. And soon after, the first video messages are submitted anonymously to Weasel from XOXO. At some point during these events, Officer Novoa is allowed to leave the labs, now being chipped and under the control of Artemis Corporation. With little to no response, XOXO is upset the videos released didn't get many people's attention. She also found out that the governor knows about something and is not talking about it publicly. She decides to make a video directed to him to get his attention and to force him to make a statement publicly.
Have you told them? Have you told them the roach tried to kill you?
I saw the video that came out this morning, and I just wanted to let you know that I'm not scared of you. Just return to your daily routines. Go to work, go out with your friends, shop at the stores, do all the things that you should normally do. We'll take care of things.
It was this public address that made people start paying attention to these XOXO warnings. In a deciphered, corrupted personal log from Arabella, she states she found a list of names that seemed to be possible kidnapped targets for Artemis Corporation. So she submitted another video anonymously, including the names of the citizens that were on the list that she found, to create some suspicion and give these individuals a warning. The individuals named on the list ended up being Honton, Director Mason, Chief Ashley, Ben Harvey, Julia Wright, and Novoa, who was already under the chip control of Artemis Corporation. Towards the end of July and beginning of August, there was a massive gang shooting involving the police task force where one individual involved in the gangs passed away, and the VU had a suspicious bombing that left a shook governor found with monkeys in the Humane Labs van close by. We know now that the brief time that he was missing, the labs took him as an attempt to intimidate Mr. Harvey and show him that they can do anything they want. Not even the governor was out of reach. August 8th was the first time XOXO and Humane Labs Twitter accounts both interacted with the community at large. This day was the last day anyone has seen or heard from the governor's wife, Maeve, who is mentioned in some corrupted logs written by Arabella, stating a woman with white hair has been taken prisoner, and we believe this to be Maeve Harvey. Late into that same night is when I was able to get the first interview with Artemis Corporation, claiming at the time to be Humane Labs workers. This is also the same night that Chief Ashley was kidnapped from the hospital. Trouble in Los Santos Part 1 is released, featuring the interview with Artemis Corporation, an interview with Ben Harvey, and the suspicious disappearance of Officer Volk while he was on duty. Trouble in Los Santos Part 2 is released, featuring more of the interview with Ben Harvey, where he admits that there had been a chip found and removed from Officer Novoa, and how Director Mason was now missing and possibly involved in the young girl's shooting during the gang task force previously reported on. During the second interview with Ben Harvey and filming of Trouble in Los Santos Part 3, a voice clip was sent into Weasel tip line from XOXO.
They're lying. All of them. Please, you have to hurry.
While listening to it with officers inside MRPD, a call came into the police from Chief Ashley asking for help inside the labs, and her rescue soon came after. Trouble in Los Santos Part 3 is released, featuring the first two failed raids and the brief second interview with Artemis Corporation outside the labs, the public warning from Officer Novoa about possible attacks inside the city, and a plea to stay out of the Humane compound. Trouble in Los Santos Part 4 is released. That included the second interview held on the 15th, the voice clip sent in, Chief Ashley's rescue, and the first major attack inside the city, where Mount Zona, Pillbox, and MRPD were shot with missiles, rockets, and explosives by Artemis Corporation and their guards or soldiers. August 21st is the night I was kidnapped by the governor, who took me after being shot multiple times at the labs in his helicopter, where he gave me basic medical treatment and blindfolded me, taking me to some type of underground bunker, where he left me with Humane Labs guards, or who we know now to be Artemis Corporation. They told me I could either make fake news and tell the city watching at home that the labs were not kidnapping people and make it convincing, or my life depended on it. Meanwhile, on the outside, Ben Harvey was questioned after being seen taking me from Humane Labs. My coworkers on Twitter had questions, and they were able to force him into a press conference at the Harvey Center. During the press conference, Ben Harvey, looking worse than ever, mentioned that Director Mason possibly had a struggle at his home with some Humane Labs guards, and this whole time may have been sick at home. However, he was now named as a missing person. In the middle of the conference, one of the guards who had taken my belongings tweeted from my account clearing Ben Harvey of kidnapping me. After the press conference ended, Ben Harvey was shot down outside the mall inside of his helicopter, and was taken to Mount Zona in critical condition. During his tests and medical treatment, an Artemis guard came and shot any and all staff in the area, and Mr. Harvey was taken at that time. We believe that this is the last time the real Ben Harvey was seen. It's clear after looking at all of the evidence that Mr. Harvey up until this point was in fact not chipped, and very aware of his actions. He is, however, guilty of doing as Artemis Corporation wished of him, due to the fact they were holding his wife as a prisoner. Inside the bunker, when I released Trouble in Los Santos Part 5, I tried to make it as convincing as I could, but I left a hidden SOS inside for my coworkers and family to hopefully decipher. But when it was publicly put in the news, I was tortured. Somehow they gave me one more shot to try and persuade the people to believe the fake news that they had written out for me to read on film. And when I released Trouble in Los Santos Part 6, it was not believed in the way they hoped, which is when they started to force me to help them create their own videos, and made it known that they were going to dispose of me afterwards. On the outside, the first air attack occurred at the mall, 2 more people were kidnapped, and MRPD is taken over by Artemis Corporation. During these battles, it became more and more obvious that some Artemis Corp soldiers were seemingly unkillable, and could take thousands of bullets and not be put down. By the end of August, people of Los Santos are upset, and spray paint is seen all around the city, with the names of the missing people at the time. And for a brief moment, another citizen was also kidnapped but later found the same night. New laws and the curfew are implemented with the release of Trouble in Los Santos Part 7, and I'm able to escape from the bunker after being saved by EMS and Batman. The last personal logs known to be found from Arabella, or XOXO, surface, and the information on these drives shocks us all. Arabella mentions how she's found classified files on how the Humane Labs research project she previously worked on with artificial intelligence and neurological science is being combined with the Future Soldier project. These future soldiers have something that flows underneath their armor that makes it unbreakable and bullet or missile proof, and that the secret to how to stop these future soldiers is in some type of serum needed to be used to neutralize it. On September 5th, a live CCTV feed is given to us at Weasel, and we are able to stream it live to the city. This stream showed XOXO attempting to free Novoa, who had recently fallen back into the humane hands once again, but during the extraction was shot and killed by Volk, who we then learned was under the control of Artemis Corporation for sure. During the situation, somehow Officer Novoa was able to get Volk to surrender, and they were both taken to Zona, and a chip was finally removed from Officer Volk. That same night, news about the serum was revealed, and a raid on the humane compound took place, with some people on top in the main surface area, and a water team who entered through the water gate accessible in the ocean side underwater. During this raid, the first serum was collected, and the first kidnapped victim, Yurt Monsoon, was saved from the labs and taken to Mount Zona. During the beginning of Yurt's treatment at the hospital, someone appearing to look like Ben Harvey with murderous red eyes was spotted at the Capitol, and this clone or robot spoke to the citizens who gathered there. Unfortunately, afterwards, an attempted surgical removal of Yurt's chip took place. The chip seemed to be different from others that had been removed from previous Humane Labs victims, and Yurt ended up passing away due to the removal of said chip. And this is where we're left. September 10th. Knowing all we know about XOXO, who tried to warn us all along. Humane Lab guards ending up being a group of ruthless killers called Artemis Corporation. Ben Harvey being played like a puppet in hopes that his wife being held as prisoner would not be harmed. A super soldier project that allows soldiers to not be killed and to do as they please. And many people still missing or dead due to the fallout. So, what now? With all that being said, we know everything. Knowing who these people are and how they operate gave us and the small group of high-ranking officers an idea of a plan for action. These serums that we know how to steal from the labs can be used against these ruthless killers, so we can take our city back. If you feel as strongly as many of us do, collect your weapons, suit up, turn your weapons to the labs, and let's take our city back and find our missing friends. I'm Baxter Ivy, and you've just been filled in. Thank you for watching, and stay safe out there.